Welcome back to this once-in-a-lifetime trip to the Galapagos Islands. There will be several wet landings today. We sat on a lava bridge. Bird watching and green turtle nests were examined. This is the 11th video in our Galapagos Island series. Today's landing is on the northwest of San Salvador.
A bit of here, we're gonna...
We love Galaxy!
Fascinating to watch the blue-footed boobies dive into the surf. The Galaxy crew is constantly working to keep the Galaxy in tip-top shape, ensuring our trip is memorable and safe. After our wet landing at James Bay on a black sandy lava beach, the science team immediately changes into dry shoes for the day's hiking adventure.
The black beach is totally different. I'm excited to see what it looks like.
Yeah.
Mrs. D immediately sets up the field microscope, and Mr. D can't wait to see what the sand looks like under magnification.
You have a couple of little white crystals. You look at black.
Yesterday, the Galaxy took us over the equator from south to north. Overnight, we traveled back south across the equator for the morning landing. Watch the previous episode to see that exciting moment. What a trip!
We have some few plants in the Galapagos. It is almost impossible for them to arrive here, like this one here, Darwinotamus. Flowers are not the typical flowers. For example, coconuts. We don't have coconuts around the Galapagos in natural ways, in natural places. So this one here is the same thing that the pine. They cannot arrive to the Galapagos. It's a long distance. But this one here just passed, the Darwinotamus. We have three families of those, actually three species of them around here. We have here Cordia lutea. It's another native plant from the Galapagos. And the yellow flowers is typical to find in the dry places. It's very important for the plants to have yellow flowers in the Galapagos because we have one endemic bee that loves a yellow flower. So this is why most of the native and endemic species along the dry zone we have with the yellow flowers, like a cactus, like this Cordia lutea. Also, the Galapagos cotton is a yellow because this carpenter bee, they loves the yellow flowers. Well, there's a grass around this place. This is a grass that grows only during the rainy season. We are on May, so these start to dry off. But actually, they die, and the seeds still alive for more than a year. So when the first rains come, we're going to have more plants like this in next December or probably January when we have a rain. So you can see the type of the seeds is typical like a rice, and it just stayed there, and the ground is also is food for finches, but still alive for a long time, like a year. And we have annual grass all the time here when we have a rain. Very.
Never did that before, honey,
So here we do have a great example of a molt of a Sally Lightfoot crab. We wouldn't actually pick up a live one because we're not allowed to. But on their chillipeds here, that's their claws, you can distinctly see the meris, the carpus, and the propedis, the three sections of the claws. They have two large claws, unlike anything like a fiddler crab, which would have one big and one small if it was a male. You also have 4 pairs of walking legs. Interestingly, this is probably because they don't have to swim around in the water very much. They don't have any swimmer legs on the back. They just have walking legs because that's what they do. They walk around on the rocks and feed on the algae in the intertidal flats. If it wasn't just for the lighthouse or the apron that we normally identify males and females by, when you open up, you can clearly see the male reproductive organs displayed here.
used to have the all these volcanic ashes, the tooth material just right on top of this area. So here on this place is the erosion actually where we have now just the basalt stay around here and the rest of the tooth material just gone. This is why we have this kind of nice formation we call crotons, and those beautiful places are used by the sea lions, so the fur seals also play around here.
Here we are on St. James Island, and what you see now is the Galapagos fur seal, but technically it is not a fur seal, it really is a sea lion. There are two different types of sea lions here on the Galapagos Islands. There is the one from California, and it has a larger snout and smaller eyes, and a larger size as well. The sea lions tend to be found on rocky shores near deep water and feed upon different cephalopods, which are fish and squid. Their population has been declining since the El Nino current, and it has been declining by 30% so far. Predators to the Galapagos sea lion are whales and sharks, and there are only 40,000 left.
This is incredible.
Okay, it's running.
There's
Leicester's coming.
pools in front
Come
of
on, Georgia,
us,
let's go.
pools behind us,
Leicester comes, it turns around and goes back.
pools under us. We're on a bridge.
We're on James Island.
We're on James Island. Its official name is San Salvador. Yes.
One, two, three. We love
Galaxy.
All right, that's awesome time. We've had the most amazing time right here, walking along the beach, the black basalt volcanic beach.
Laid it up.
This is the button mangrove. You see how big the leaf it's a little one. The long mangrove. Yeah.
You see the buttons on it. Tell me about the roots of the button mangrove.
without water. Oh my God, right?
It's usually inland.
Inland, yeah. It's inland. That's why they use some. The sea lion also is eating. That's why they are around here. Sea lion is above this part of the fish. Look at the sea lion's coming.
Out here in the Galapagos, we've had the opportunity to see so many species of birds. There's over 50 species of birds found here in the Galapagos, and at least 30 of them are endemic. Some of the words we use a lot when we describe the birds here are resident, migrant, and endemic, and it can be a bit confusing if you don't know what those mean. A resident lives and breeds year-round in the Galapagos, but it can also be found elsewhere in the world. On the other hand, there's migrants, which are only here in the Galapagos for part of the year, and generally that's the winter or December through March. Then we have the endemic species. Those do not breed anywhere else in the world. They're only found here, and they're generally found here year-round in the Galapagos. In the Galapagos, one of those interesting species we have is the mockingbirds. There's over four specimens in this group of mockingbirds. There's the Galapagos, the Charles, the Hood, and the Chatham. Galapagos dove is also a species you'll see walking around the Galapagos a lot. They don't have hard bills for seed cracking because they'll swallow their food whole. And they break that food down in the gizzard where their food is smashed into small bits by a rock or a little pebble or some grit that they've swallowed with their food. And that's really a fingerprint of God, because if they didn't have a hard bill and they didn't have a gizzard, they wouldn't be able to digest their food.
You can see the different sounds that they make.
Wow, we've had a great day here at Santiago Island, and I just wanted to go over the 3 ecological zones of the Galapagos Islands.
Okay, what are they?
Well, the first one is the coastal littoral zone.
Okay.
The second one is the arid and transitional zones, and the third one is the humid upland zone. The coastal littoral zone is characterized by plants and animals that depend on the proximity of the sea. Plants in this zone must be very tolerant of salt because they are partially or completely covered in seawater, but they have special glands to excrete the salt.
The arid and transitional zone is characterized by long periods of drought and relative lack of moisture. The plants and animals that live here can survive long periods without water. And the humid upland zone is the last zone. The plants and animals here have to be able to survive shorter periods of drought, but they are mostly adapted to an abundance of water.
Okay, we're here on James Island, and we're in the middle of actually a button mangrove forest, and we're actually at the green turtle nesting site.
What we're looking at here is a dead baby green sea turtle, and one of the interesting things about these turtle nests is the green sea turtles will always come back to the same nesting grounds. The reason they do this is because all of the conditions are right here, the temperature and the setting. And if there are, like we see here, empty old turtle shells or dead little sea turtles, then they will actually clear those out of the way and then lay the new eggs.
But the troubles aren't over for the sea turtle there, because as they begin to hatch, many of the birds of the area will come down and try to prey on the young sea turtles when they are still defenseless. The mockingbirds, the frigate birds, and also the cormorants will try to eat them as they're making their way to the ocean.
We just want days and days and days more of it, that's all.
This sea turtle is sadly one that did not make it to the ocean and has already died, otherwise we would not be touching. But you can see how small they are when they are first hatched, and their eggs are about the size of a ping pong ball, roughly.
There are at least 12 turtle nests that I've counted here, possibly some more that are hidden under these button mangroves. This seems to be a safe place for them, although we did just see a mockingbird scratching to try and release the babies early so that there would be a dinner meal. Well, look over there. There are some little teeny tiny tracks. Those were the babies that were coming out of the nest last night. Look at these little ones. They're not as clear because the wind is blowing the sand over, but there was a good hatching last night, obviously. Well, there's the mockingbird over there eating little pieces of the baby. That one must have come out today because they prefer living ones, not dead ones. Now, this is the Galapagos mockingbird on this island, not the hood mockingbird. But these are excellent tracks leading up to the nests.